I'm Mary West on the Voice of the Foothills, AM 950 K-High. And Wednesday, September 4th, is not a day I'm going to forget anytime soon. I got up before dawn, drove for an hour to get yelled at, taught to march and march in double time to a gym where I was yelled at some more while doing calisthenics. Then I jogged to a track to jog to an obstacle course. I completed the obstacle course and jogged back to the gym. I then went to the Weaponless defense training where I learned to safely disarm an attacker. At the shooting range, I shot 10 rounds through a Smith and Wesson 40 caliber handgun. I got to sit down in a classroom where I learned how to see the signs of alcohol intoxication on the human eyeball. Then I had lunch in a cafeteria before I walked a quarter mile to the scene of a car wreck where I had to take a report and then took inventory of the vehicles before they were towed. And I learned how to measure an accident scene. Then I learned how to drive a car fast in extremely wet and slippery conditions. I watched a ceremony where 42 CHP cadets honored officers who have died in the line of duty by polishing brass plaques dedicated to the officers in the middle of the CHP Academy campus quad. I ended my day by interviewing a cadet to ask him why he would want to learn these 42 different disciplines in 27 weeks to become a California Highway Patrol officer. He said he wanted to help people. The California Highway Patrol will be accepting applications for the position of Cadet California Highway Patrol September 12th through the 14th of 2013. The starting salary, in case you were wondering, is between $45,000 and $55,000. You need to be 20 to 35 years old to be accepted for the current exam cycle. High school diploma or its equivalent. In the last 5 cadet classes, 88% had some college training and 50% had their associate's degree. You need to be a U.S. citizen and have no felony convictions. You must have taken the written test prior to your 36th birthday to avoid being disqualified by age. For those interested in applying or seeking additional information, go to chpcareers.com. What I experienced at the Academy in West Sacramento, California is just a glimpse of what the cadets experience over 27 weeks. And I hope the best to Cadet Terry Benzinger, who is set to graduate from the Academy on October 30th of 2013 and be promoted to a California Highway Patrol officer.
Forward, march, left, go left, right, left, go left.
You gotta get that. You gotta get it. What about it? Figure it out. No good. You're supposed to be standing at the position of attention. You're not eyeballing me. You're looking straight ahead. How about it now? I'm about to put that away. Real good. Real good, people. Nobody told you. We're just getting I don't know why we're sticking around. Put that stinking trash down. Put that trash down right now.
Physical training, which is next up on our list, and I know it's always a favorite of boot camp participants. You're going to go through a shooting demonstration, advanced officer safety training, a DUI demonstration, staged collision display. You're going to participate in our skid pan, and you're going to see our CHP Memorial Fountain Ceremony, which will take place at lunchtime, and it's a weekly event that the CHP Cadets do, in which they honor the 223 fallen members of our department. It's when they polish the brass plaques around our memorial fountain, so you'll see that at lunchtime today. You will have lunch with our CHP Commissioner, Commissioner Joe Farrow, and just a little history about the department. We were formed in 1929. This academy was open for business in 1976. So that means that every CHP officer that you've encountered or you've spoken to since 1976 has graduated from this facility. And that's regardless of their geographical location throughout the state. The academy is on 457 acres. We have a emergency vehicle operations course here. We have 2 shooting ranges, a cafeteria, administration building, recreation building, water safety training tank, this gymnasium. We have a track out behind us, and this is a completely self-contained facility here. The cadet training is 27 weeks long, which is about 1,260 hours of academic and tactical training. So that covers approximately 69 different learning domains that they go through during their training. The cadets are required to live on campus during the 27 weeks, which is very rare today. Most of the academies throughout the country, the cadets can go home at the end of the day, but ours are required to live here throughout the duration of their training. Your training will be 1 day, and at the end of the day, if you're successful, we'll allow you to go home tonight. So that's a little motivation to do your best today. So if we deem necessary, we may keep you for a couple extra days. So
Get on your feet, get up. Doesn't require dropping to your knees. All you have to do is stand up. Stop moving. You're at attention. I didn't say scratch, I didn't say what. I said at attention. Give him the command to fall out. Who's next? Well, who's next?
I'll go.
What's your name?
Julie?
Stand by. Go. Strap me up and put up bars. Who's next?
Carmi.
Ready?
Not a whole lot I can do. He has the advantage here, right? I can't reach that far. But if he's up close, now I have a little ability to do something. From here, it's not a huge movement, it's just enough. If someone's pointing a gun at you and they haven't shot you yet, more than likely they're going to ask you for something. What's a normal thing you do when somebody puts a gun at you, points a gun at you?
Flinch.
Well, hands up, right?
Yeah.
That's the normal submissive posture. So we're going to do that. We're going to put our hands up. This does a couple things. It shows submission to him, but also puts my hands close proximity to the weapon. So as I put my hands up, you may even speak. So you start to speak and say, you can have whatever you want. And as you start speaking, what do people wait for? The end of your sentence, right? So you're going to do this right in the middle of your sentence. So you go, you can have whatever you, and that's when you attack. So as you come here, I'm going to redirect the weapon. I'm just going to turn my body just enough. I don't need to put it all the way out. This isn't the Matrix. I just need to go just enough to get that muzzle offline of my body. So it's a blading of my body, turning it, as well as taking that muzzle, putting it off my body just enough. Okay? Once I have redirected the weapon, I'm now going to control it. By controlling it, I'm going to punch it to his hips. If he's stronger than I am, I'm going to have a lot of trouble here because my arm isn't locked out. I need to get it locked out. The way to do that is I'm going to punch it towards his hip. Okay? So as I'm here, I'm now punching towards his hip and trying to pin it to him. If he moves back, I move back with him. Other than that, this is an awkward position for him, and I have more strength with my arm locked out than I do with it bent. So as it's locked out here, now I attack. This guy I've done nothing to make him stop doing what he's doing, right? Except redirect the weapon. What do I need to do? Shake that brain, right? There we go, I like it. It's like 3 for 6. So for right here, as I punch him, I want to do enough just to get his mind off of this weapon. So as I start punching, he's going to be moving back. I need to move back with him. Once I think that I've done enough, with 2 to 3 or however many punches it takes, I don't need to sit here all day. There's 2 different beliefs. It's one punch and then take the weapon away. It's however many you need to do. So I'm now going to reach my hand, my strong hand, up and underneath, and I'm going to grab right here, just to give me strength for the weapon. If I try to grab like this, it's harder for me to turn it. I need to grab back here by the rear sight, and I need to grab a hold of it as hard as I can, because I'm going to turn this weapon to try to turn it out. Now, we don't have any trigger guards here, but if they did, their finger would most likely be in there. This would do what to their finger? Probably
Break it.
Okay, so this would be done fast. You turn it and break as hard as you can to try to get that finger. That finger's still may be stuck in there, so then I'm going to yank it out, gain my distance, and if I'm an officer on duty, I'm going to draw my own weapon, because who's to say this isn't a fake gun, right? Or it doesn't work, I don't know.
Especially with the cadets, never fired a gun. Who here has never fired a gun? Good, me neither. This is going to be great. No. All right, what we're looking for, again, safety. We're going to do that with protecting our eyes, our ears, and our body. We're going to have bulletproof vests on. All right? First thing we'll do is we'll suit up with bulletproof vests. I'll give you all one of these. You're going to put it on this way first. This goes to the front. Straps come around the back, all the way to the front. All right? I'll show you first. Hands up. That's right. When Patrol says hands up, boy, you get them up.
These magazines hold 11.
Gently squeeze the trigger.
Would you prefer it as a personal gun?
I mean, it's a pretty good weapon. What it does.
A gunfight. A couple officers made a stop in Oakland. Only 6 months after graduating from the academy.
Wow.
6 months. They still had their PT, physique. They still had their shooting skills down, and thankfully it saved them. So they made a stop on a guy, and the the passenger officer went forward to actually contact him. As he did, the driver in a quad cab pickup, which was only parked about 15 feet forward of him, was loaded for bear. He had guns and he was ready to go actually kill somebody. And he turns around with a gun. The officer sees that he retreats. The driver officer comes out and starts shooting, covering his partner. Both officers end up to the rear of the vehicle. In the back here, they're kind of covered. They don't want to expose themselves by jumping out in the middle. So what do you suppose they did?
Shot right through.
Right through the windows. Shoot through the back window. That's why we have no back window. That's why you've got a lot of holes right here. This hole happens to be a .308 round. Shot via rifle from the suspect coming back this way. It was a pretty ferocious gun battle. The officers went through all the rounds of the pistol, which is 34 rounds. One officer had to come up front while the other officer covered him, grab the shotgun and the rifle from here, retreat back to the rear of the vehicle, and they both shot through all the rounds of their shotgun and rifle. About that point that they went empty, other officers began arriving on scene. The suspect, who also had a lot of rounds, was armed with he had a bulletproof vest on him. So he was getting shot up pretty good in his legs, partially because he was exposed and out of the car initially. He got back in, sequestered himself in. The gunfight continued. He lived to tell about it. He had a bulletproof vest. He had no fatal hits. I'm not sure the exact number of rounds exchanged, but when the other officers showed up, they continued to fire from it. This went on for several minutes. All the officers survived. None of them actually got hit. And we've got a court case pending with this gentleman.
The most elite class, the highest level of training you can receive is the drug recognition expert. It's called the DRE. And that is a 2-week in-class portion. This advanced class is 2 weeks classroom, 1 week in the field. So we train the officers throughout the state to become DREs, and then they have to go practice that in the field. And actually we do hands-on arrests of several drug categories, and they have to prove themselves in front of an instructor, and then through us as the state coordinators, we send information to the federal government, and they are certified as a drug recognition expert.
Place your right foot in front of you, with your other right foot touching the toe of your left foot. Take your hands down to the side. Go ahead and stay like that. Don't do anything until I tell you to, okay? Whatever I tell you to, when I'm going to ask you, just take 9 heel toes up along that line. Take a series of small steps, come around, take 9 heel toe steps back. It's going to look like this, okay? You set up. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. On your 9th step, you'll step off with your foot that's behind. Take a series of small steps, leaving your front foot in place. Then take 9 heel toe steps back.
Don't do anything until I tell you to do so, okay? So when I tell you to do so, you're gonna take that.
4 things I want you to remember. I want you to look down at your feet. Keep your hands down at your side. Counting, step out loud. And once you start the test, do not stop. Do you understand?
Yeah. All the way down.
Go ahead and begin.
Get to your 9th step. You're gonna clear it. You're gonna turn around. Okay? You're gonna leave that right foot in place and turn. Then you're gonna take 9 steps back. Keep your hands in place. Make sure you look down at your foot down out of that foot. You understand?
9.
Okay. So you know most of your interactions with us is on the road, right?
Right,
You show up at this crash scene, he goes, what happened? What happened? What happened? Can I get a soundbite? Oh, hey, calm down. Deadline, man. We'll get there, okay? But there's a few things that happen first that we have to take care of before we can give you that interview, okay?
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do is we're going to break you guys up into groups. That whole stuff this morning is over. Oh, so now it's all relaxed, okay? Not to sir, man, or anything like this.
So we can talk to you like how we normally
We can talk to you.
You're not going to yell at me?
Ask questions, but what we're going to do is break you up in a little bit of groups. You're going to be assigned to different officers. Okay. Here's the scenario. The collision is a head-on collision. Okay. One party is a minor and DUI, and we're going to arrest them. And then we have different officers performing different tasks, so you guys can get an idea of what is involved, what we have to do before we can start talking about it. Okay. So how many? 1,
And thank you to everyone at the California Highway Patrol Academy for putting together the Media Bootcamp, for giving me just a glimpse of what these cadets go through to prepare them to be California Highway Patrol officers. I'm Mary West. I'm the voice of the Foothills, AM 950 K High.